Everyone. I'm Dr. Josie Schmidt, and I'm so excited to be going over what I'm calling the Fab Four. And actually, I'm going to expand it. I already called it the Fab Four, but hopefully I'll get to talk a little bit about the fifth, DDR. So it would really be the Fab Five. And I know it's just a cute title. What we want to talk about in this webinar today in this call, and I hope to get some feedback and interaction with people in the chat and at the end if we have time, is about, last week we talked about the LLV, right? And how to really get comfortable with that, understand it, the ingredients, what it does for us, and then how to explain that and be able to talk about it to people when we are sharing it. So now we're digging deeper into the next level of the other supplements that are offered kind of in addition and beyond the Lifelong Vitality Pack, the LLV. So these are the Fab Four. I'm designating as the Deep Blue Polyphenol Complex, otherwise known as DBPC. Whenever you see me write that in a thing, that's what I mean, Deep Blue Polyphenol Complex. It's the Deep Blue Pill, the Mito 2 Max, Terrazyme, and PB Assist. And then the fifth would be DDR. I did not initially include DDR because, I'm going to take you to the next slide, right? With doTERRA and their Customize and Save in the Loyalty Rewards program, right? The deep additional savings that people can receive with working with multiple supplementation. doTERRA understands this. They're really trying to promote a lifestyle of health and make it affordable for people. So in this offering, DDR is not one of the lower additional, you can choose 3 and tag them on. So that's why it wasn't that it's not important. It's why I didn't initially prioritize it. I'm going to bring it in because it is so important, but knowing that it is not something that you get to tack on to the LLV. All right. So, I'm going to take you guys through, kind of going to dive deep into the supplements and some of the things, and then come back out in various levels of like, here's diving deep to kind of give you deeper background information about them. If you're not liking it, if it feels like it's too much information, TMI, then wait for the next. I'm going to go back and I'm going to stair step it back, okay, to ways that you can talk about it that are more simple. But there are a lot of people who do want to go into the deep dive, wellness advocates, and so we're kind of going to be working on a lot of different levels for people and what's going to work for them. What I wanted to say initially was people who are newer are coming in and they weren't through the process with one of the R&D doctors that doTERRA brought in, Dr. Josie Schmidt. No, we're not related. And he did some reformulation for doTERRA. And some of it we didn't like, the LLV, he reformulated that and then they changed it back, in fact, because the original formula is just so amazing. But he did do some things, and I want to tell you about that because people say, well, why is there the daily nutrient pack and the LLV? So the difference between these two is the LLV is you have the 3 basic supplements, right? You have the Microplex VMZ, the EO Omega, and the Alpha CRS. The daily nutrient pack, you just have the Microplex and the EO Omega. Why did they do that? They did that because Josie Schmidt was brought in they wanted more evidence-based medicine. There's a lot of good things to evidence-based medicine, and sometimes it doesn't serve us. In the case of the LLV, when they reformulated it to the evidence-based medicine, which meant synthetic, provable, standardized supplements, that he reformulated the Microplex away from our whole food multivitamin complex and into the standardized, and when you move away from the whole food and you go to the standardized in terms of when you're talking about nutrients, you are going back to synthetic vitamins. That's just how it is. So it was looked better kind of scientifically and in the mind, but everyone, all of our bodies did not react well. There's such magic and synergism in the microplex and what they're doing with the whole food complex there that after about a year, doTERRA changed it back. Isn't that amazing? They listened. So, but why they stayed with the daily nutrient pack was that when he was reformulating things, we already had the Mito 2 Max. He reformulated the Mito 2 Max and he brought in the deep blue polyphenol complex. That's his creation. And we are forever grateful for him for both of these. What he did to the Mito 2 Max in reformulating it made it incredible. And then the deep blue polyphenol. The idea was that what he brought in were some similarities to what was in the Alpha CRS, but it was more focused with standardized, patented, and more potent forms of the power-packed ingredients that are in the Alpha CRS. And so he wanted to have formulations that we could really point to and have stronger and more powerful and evidence-based. I said, yeah. So what we found is in all of, pretty much across the board, there is the LLV is the place you want to start. Can you see from last week, we have a lot of people who the Alpha CRS is too powerful. We have to start sometimes we have to go to the alternative, right? Beginning protocol. Sometimes you have to start at a quarter dose or a half dose or 3/4 dose because the systems have a lot of backlog of filtration and detoxification that they need to move through. And that's what that Alpha CRS is really, together with the other ones, helping them with. So the LLV is where you want to start, but sometimes it's not where you want to finish. Sometimes we need bigger guns. People are pretty sick, and this is amazing supplementation. And so for a lot of us with the kinds of inflammation and challenges that we're dealing with, we want to work with the LLV plus the deep blue polyphenol complex, plus the Mitomax, plus the Tirazyme, and plus the PB Assist. Yeah? So that's what we're going to go into for you to understand these a little bit more so you can be a little more flexible and then be able to relate to people when and why they would need them and even compare them with other supplements. There are times when I will start people on the daily nutrient pack and the Mitomax and the deep blue instead of the LLV, right? And I tell them it's the same amount of pills because the serving size in the Mitomax and the deep blue are 2 a day, not 4 a day. So you have 4 bottles instead of 3 bottles in the LLV, but same amount of pills. And I would, the daily nutrient pack plus the Mitomax and the deep blue is stronger against inflammation. But a lot of the times, that's too much. So you don't start there. You start with the LLV and you move your way up. Yeah. Other times we stay with the LLV and we add on the deep blue and the Mitomax. Okay. So I'm going to move on. Look at this deep blue. What's in it? I just start to swoon, actually. It's kind of funny when I see what is in here. I'm going to take you through these, and we're going to deep dive the biggest into deep blue polyphenol complex and Mitomax today. So we're looking at that frankincense, right? It's Boswellia serrata, but I want you to notice that it's the gum resin, and it's a gum resin extract called Apraflex. This is a patented form. We're going to dive into that. The curcumin from turmeric. So it's from the original turmeric curcuma longa root, but it's this form called BCM95, again, patented form. We then have, and I want you to notice the amounts, 100 milligrams of frankincense, gum resin, 250 of the curcumin, 300 milligrams of our ginger root extract. It's a lot. Then we go into 100 milligrams of our green tea leaf extract. Notice that it's standardized to 75% catechins. We'll talk about standardization. The pomegranate fruit extract, again, standardized to 30% punicalins. I don't know if I can say that word even. When it's standardized, you're standardizing to the main polyphenol, or the main ingredient that is known for its highest medicinal action usually, and there's most studies done on. We have the grapeseed extract, 95% standardization to polyphenol content, and then our resveratrol. Okay. Let's go on. So here's one of the first concepts. These things like frankincense extract, frankincense gum resin, curcumin, lychee berry, these are super powerful polyphenol, and well, they're not all polyphenol, but they're super powerful antioxidants. What that almost always means, and in this case for these three definitely means, is that they're huge. I love this thing. They're big puppies, you guys. They're big molecules. What that means is they do not move through our cell walls and get to where they need to get to into our cells and to work with inflammation easily. So the net effect is they're not easily absorbed. Turmeric alone, just as that nice golden powder that you buy in the store and you put in your turmeric latte, it looks pretty, but it's not very absorbable. It's not very bioavailable to our bodies. Frankincense gum resin, curcumin, lychee, and we'll tell you some others. This is where really beautiful and interesting companies come into trying to come into forms. This is why they're patented forms of these to make them more bioavailable, to help do something to that big puppy, that huge molecule, to make it so that it can pass through our cell walls and these membranes more easily and be more absorbed and available in our bodies. Okay, so when you cannot compare, it's apples and oranges. You can't compare one curcumin to another without really knowing what's been done to it. Is it a special patented form? What is its delivery? Does it have a vehicle? Have they done something to it to help it be more absorbable? And you certainly can't compare a curcumin extract that has had that done to just turmeric alone. All right. There's my other slide, right? There you go. Passing through that cell wall. These guys do not do it easily. The oils do. That's what's amazing about the oils, but not the big puppy antioxidants that we are taking in. We need specialized forms of them to really make them power packed in their effect. All right, so here's the deal. People are gonna go read and come back to this. This is a webinar. I put this in for the people who are gonna wanna do that. I'm not gonna read through this, I have a video. But I put these in. Here are my collected notes about the BCM 95. The BCM 95 is a patented form of the curcumin extract. The take home is, it's amazing, you guys. The take home of this is that it is a 95%, and that's important when you compare all kinds of curcumin extracts. And you want to read the top there. A standardized herbal extract is an herb extract that has one or more components. Hold on. Yeah, I gotta move this thing. There we go. Sorry, let's go to that. Yeah, it's one or more components present in a specific guaranteed amount, usually expressed as a percentage, in this case, 95. The intention behind the standardization of herbs is to guarantee that the consumer is getting a product in which the chemistry is consistent from batch to batch. So it's actually quite important. Curcuminoids are an active ingredient in turmeric, which contain the power antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. There are other ones we know in turmeric, right? But this was the first main one. And this is the one to which they then standardize and say, hey, if you're looking for this as medicine, we can tell you that at the very least, we know it has this amount of curcuminoids present. And so it doesn't mean that the other ones aren't present. And that is very important in whole herbs. And so you don't just want the standardized extract, you want the whole herb, but you want that standardized to that amount. So the BCM has been standardized to the 95% curcuminoids, but what makes it different in the BCM part, right, in this patented form, is that before we even came out with our turmeric AR Turmerone forward essential oil, right, this is what makes BCM 95 special. No other curcumin product on the market has this. They have brought in the turmeric essential oil, and they have then done a lot of studies on up to 50. They have amazing amount of studies on the efficacy and increased bioavailability when you bring together the curcuminoids and the AR and the different, basically the turmeric essential oil. So you're bringing together the curcuminoids and the turmeric essential oil, and the take home is that it's 7 to 9 times more bioavailable. That's huge. Oh my gosh. So wait, oops, before we go into that, I'm gonna take everyone out. Let's see if I can do this. And I'm gonna try and show you guys a little video. This is their video, it's a minute long, on BCM 95.
Did you know turmeric is one of the most searched health foods? It's not really surprising, since turmeric extract has so many health benefits. But did you also know that all turmeric extracts are not equally effective, or even safe to eat? That's because most of them contain a lot less curcumin and are filled with toxic chemicals instead. BCM 95 on the hand is near 100% pure natural turmeric extract. Each capsule contains nothing human turmeric oils. Those ingredients themselves together form unbeatable combination. And make it easy for your body to absorb free curcumin from more than 8 whole hours. BCM 95.
Hey Josie, we can't see the video.
And in iron too, since it's mainly.
Oh, really? Shoot. I'm sorry, everyone. Right? Okay. Thank you. Yes. So I need to. Got it. There it is. You want to hear it again? Sorry, it's like a minute. My bad. Now can you see it? Yes.
Only so.
Hold on. Let's watch
No,
it again.
turmeric is one of the most searched health foods. It's not really surprising, since turmeric extract has so many health benefits. But you also know all turmeric extracts are not equally effective, or even safe to eat. Most of them contain a lot less curcumin and are filled with toxic chemicals instead. BCM 95 on the hand is near 100% pure natural turmeric extract. Each capsule contains nothing human turmeric oils. Those ingredients themselves together form unbeatable combination. And make it easy for your body to absorb free curcumin for more than 8 whole hours. BCM 95, super effective and super safe. And in iron too, since it's used only so natural. Natural with BCM 95.
It's a bit difficult to hear, I think. Rose.
It is okay. So I'm going to stop sharing that. Okay. Yeah, maybe we can, she said we can post the video later on Facebook. Yeah, that's from their website. Sorry about that, guys. that the BCM95 website. You get the idea. I love it. Before I watched the video, they weren't touting. I didn't know that they made it with only solar energy. I thought that was amazing, right? Really cool right there. And that it's active for up to 8 hours in your body, this version in this form. That's a great detail as well. All right, I'm gonna go, so that's the curcuminoids. I have some talking points we're gonna pull back out about that. I'm gonna go to the next big puppy and we're gonna talk about Aproflex. Now, Aproflex is the frankincense version, okay? In this, in the deep blue polyphenol complex. This comes from a German company. And I'm gonna read this. This is important for some people when they get in, specifically when they're talking on cancer platforms. So clinically proven Boswellia serrata extract providing acetyl-11 keto beta biswellic acid. Okay, you don't need to remember all that. The acronym for that is AKBA, and you might want to remember that. AKBA, when you are in the cancer platforms and talking to people and comparing products, frankincense that is being used clinically in cancer and that most of the clinical trials are being done on is the AKBA, okay? So that's what people want to have an understanding and a comparison to, I would say, when they are talking. We have, just as the curcumin, right? It's so cool to think about, you have the curcuminoids, and those are like the AKBA, okay, in frankincense, if you're comparing turmeric and frankincense. And then you have the essential oils. So you have frankincense essential oil and the AKBA, and you have the turmeric essential oil and the curcuminoids, right? We want all of them. We want both coming together. So you're getting that in that BCM95, and then if you're taking in more turmeric essential oil, with the Aproflex, you're getting this specialized form of Boswellia serrata, the AKBA, but it's even better than other forms of AKBA. So it's this AKBA with a proprietary Boswellia extract, right? So they've combined the AKBA with, they're calling it proprietary, but a whole Boswellia extract. This unique combination improves the bioavailability and bioactivity of the AKBA, while the proprietary, so the next sentence with the LOX5, they're basically saying it, and this works really well with the LOX5 inhibition. That's the pain and inflammation pathway. Okay, so together the synergism exceeds the expected benefit of the individual ingredients. So they talk that it's also more effective in this other pathway, the MMP3, which is one about connective tissue and helping the tissues heal faster and against collagen breakdown, right? So tests show that compared to AKBA alone, Aproflex promotes faster absorption, quicker therapeutic benefit, and the elimination patterns show the blood levels, it lasts longer. So you can see all the things that they have clinically, they can clinically say that Aproflex does and has proven to support healthy joints, validates, yes, all this, the bioavailability and bioactivity of the AKBA. It works against this pain and inflammation, the 5-LOX pathway, so that's great. And so the take home is that this version of the Aproflex, when you compare it to, all right, here's my, now those were kind of the deep dives about the Aproflex and the BCM95, and now we're gonna pull back a little bit. And I'm going up here, I'm talking about point number 1, the Aproflex, right? Patented 8, so here's maybe one you want to screenshot if you want kind of some take-home specific points to remember about the deep blue polyphenol complex. It's a patented AKBA frankincense extract, has improved bioavailability, at least 3 clinical studies that are verified in terms of the improved bioavailability. And what I have there, the 100 milligrams to 200 milligrams absorbed, those studies showed that it had about a doubling effect in its bioavailability. So what that means, if you're going to compare another product of AKBA to Aproflex, Aproflex at 100 milligrams has the absorption capacity of, you'd compare it to another AKBA product that was 200 milligrams on their label, right? So if someone is in a cancer protocol and they are using 600 milligrams of AKBA with a different product, you go, oh, well, my equivalency in the deep blue polyphenol complex is that you take 2 pills 3 times a day. That would give you the same clinical absorption capacity of what you're taking with that bottle. I hope that makes sense. However, if they're just taking AKBA, then you probably don't need the exact same amount, the 2 pills 3 times a day, to equal the 600 milligrams, because there is such synergy happening with also what else is in the deep blue polyphenol complex. So when you bring together the synergistic effects of the Aproflex with the BCM95 and the ginger and then the polyphenol complex, that's when that crazy magic happens and you get this kind of like superpower of the deep blue polyphenol complex. So let's go over the BCM95, right? It's that potent 95% standardized patented curcumin essential oil complex. They call it a CEC, curcumin essential oil complex. I love that. Over 50 clinical studies showing that it's 7 to 9 times more bioavailable. So what does that mean? That means our 250 milligrams in our bottle, you'd want to see someone else's bottle that has the equivalency in terms of how it's absorbed to 1,750 milligrams. So you'd want them to have about a 2,000 milligram dose of just their curcumin 95% standardized complex. And like I said, the power of it together with the Aproflex, the ginger, and the polyphenols, it just takes it to kind of like, I don't even know, but a lot more. A lot more. Okay. So you can see why I get really excited about this product. The ginger, 300 milligrams. You guys, that's a lot. That's a great amount. So when we study about irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, and SIBO, small intestinal bowel overgrowth, these are becoming very commonly diagnosed. One of the main issues with IBS and SIBO is gut motility. We find that peristalsis and the gut's ability to move all of our digestive bulk and our waste through the intestines and out is slowed down. It's one of the things that causes these problems, right? That happens first and then the problems happen. So part of unraveling that whole complex of IBS and SIBO is to get your motility and your peristalsis moving. The things that help to do that are called prokinetics, right? That makes sense. Kinetic is movement, pro-movement. We want movement in the gut. There are a couple of favorite naturopathic supplements that are recommended for pro-movement, and guess what they have in common? Ginger, a lot of ginger. Ginger is considered one of the best natural prokinetics, and the dose that Allison Seebecker, who is our main naturopath, who kind of was one of the people with Stephen Sandberg Lewis in UNM, NCNM, here at the Naturopathic College in Portland, really coined with SIBO and about SIBO. So she herself said she thinks 600 milligrams of ginger is equal to, because sometimes they'll use natural prokinetics, but sometimes they go to prokinetics that are actually a pharmaceutical, and it's not awesome. Like there's some side effects, not all side benefits. So that's her dosage. So 600 milligrams, guess what that is? That's just a double dose of Deep Blue. But I think it's even just a single dose of Deep Blue and some Slim Sassy and some Digest Zen, because guess what Slim Sassy and Digest Zen have in them? Ginger essential oil. So daily using a little bit here, a little bit there of Slim Sassy little bit rubbing it and Digest Zen on your belly, on the bottoms of your feet, taking it, tea, however you want to get that in, and even just considering a dose of 2 Deep Blue Polyphenol Complex daily. That's going to match the highest gun pharmaceutical dose of Prokinetic that they use for IBS and SIBO. You're welcome. I have been taking 1 Deep Blue Polyphenol Complex before bed, and I'm going to up it to 2. I've been loving the effect of my yummy BMs in the morning, and yeah, so I would add that in. Add it to your right before bed regime. And then the polyphenol blend. So it's like there's all these heavy hitters. Oh my gosh, I'm not going to get through everything, you guys. Okay, I'm very passionate about this stuff. So the polyphenol blend, like we have all these big puppies and these heavy hitters in Deep Blue, and then there's resveratrol, grapeseed extract, green tea extract, pomegranate extract, and I mean, the resveratrol and the grapeseed extracts alone, I've looked them up on like Nature's Way and the not awesome, maybe quality level supplements, like the cheaper ones, are $22 each for just the equivalent amount, the 50 milligrams of the grapeseed extract or the resveratrol, right? I mean, yeah, more than the entire bottle. So when you remember the customize and save, when you're buying it with the LLV, you're buying this at $20. So literally some of the smallest ingredients, when you buy them singly alone, are more expensive than this entire bottle. It's outrageous what's in here. So yeah, I hope you can take some of those talking points. So I kind of had some fun with this. I broke this down even more basic. Let's take this home. So what are the basic points that you want to remember about the Deep Blue Polyphenol Complex? It's specialized frankincense with double bioavailability. What do you want to remember about the turmeric? It's specialized turmeric extract that combines turmeric essential oil in it, and it's 7 times more bioavailable. And I put in parentheses than other curcuminoids that you would be comparing it to. You have your ginger for gut motility and a potent polyphenol blend. Just one of these ingredients in the polyphenol blend is more expensive singly than the entire Deep Blue Polyphenol Complex. Okay, and now let's take it one more step back. I had fun with this. When your fire hydrant needs an extra, when your fire hose needs an extra fire hydrant, right? We talked about the fire hose with the alpha CRS and the inflammation. So this is when your fire hose needs an extra fire hydrant. Or the big guns. You could just say the big guns, or you could say big guns for pain and inflammation. And it comes with side benefits rather than side effects. We're not supposed to compare to pharmaceuticals, but many people have said this is like a natural prednisone. Really. Okay, so that is the Deep Blue Polyphenol Complex. I'm going to move on to the Mitomax. Look at what's in here. Oh my gosh. So the first thing I highlighted there, I want you to notice that like 600 milligrams of acetyl L-carnitine, right? And then it has its cofactors together with the alpha-lipoic acid, 50 milligrams, the CoQ10, 50 milligrams. If you're taking this in addition to the LLV with the alpha CRS, that also has 50 milligrams of the alpha-lipoic acid and the CoQ10, and then I think it has 100 milligrams of acetyl L-carnitine. Like you're combining this together because we can use a lot of support in our energy and our mitochondrial function, right? The mitochondria is what is our energy currency, right? It's the part of the cell that's kind of like giving us our money. What's like our ability to run everything, right? It's down in like, it's like the engine room. And then you have this 100 milligrams of this oligonol. What is this? This lychee fruit and green tea polyphenol extract combination? That's interesting, right? Yes, it's very interesting. I'm going to tell you about that. Together with quercetin. You also have quercetin in the alpha CRS. And then you have this adaptogenic blend. Cordyceps, which is an amazing mushroom. You have ginseng, root extract. And then you have, what is this KCM 66 ashwagandha, right? Okay, I think we know a little bit about, ashwagandha, amazing herb. What's up with the KCM 66? All right, so Mitomax. These are the main take-home points. When you think about Mitomax, you think about it for, hold on. I break it down. I'm gonna do it, I think I have it in the other one, but you really wanna take home these 3 points, right? Energy, you don't have to say mitochondria. You could or you couldn't, but you could just say energy cofactors, circulation, and then instead of adaptogenic blend, what that really is saying is adrenals. So you say this is for your adrenals, your energy, and your circulation. Adrenals, energy, circulation. Helps with your energy is the ATP and the mitochondria, your stamina, oxygen, circulation. What is circulation doing? It's bringing oxygen to all of your cells. What does oxygen do? It helps with energy and mental clarity. All right, so stamina, oxygen, energy, mental clarity. So cordyceps is a mushroom from traditional Chinese medicine. Gosh, it's used for so much, right? To treat, it's very wide ranging. When we say adaptogenic, these are herbs that just help us in, they're kind of like the lavender, the Swiss Army knife. They have, and our citrus oils, they help in all these ways, right? They're very multifaceted and they help at a foundational level, promoting longevity and energy, right? And immune system. Ashwagandha, powerful Ayurvedic herb. It is really about immune enhancement, adaptogen, helping your body to be able to adapt to the stresses of life. So it works with our nervous system and being restorative and rejuvenating. Oligonol. This is a special patented formula of lychee fruit, which comes from China, the lychee fruit, and green tea extract. They've come up with a patented form of bringing these two together that, what does it do? Remember, this is a big puppy. Lychee is like, outside of the body, it's one of the highest known antioxidants. It's up there in the top 10 list, but poor absorption, right? So when you bring this together in this patented form with the green tea, you're all of a sudden getting this powerful, powerful antioxidant able to be absorbed and bioavailable. Okay, so I'm taking us back. Remember acetyl L-carnitine? They call it Alcar, acetyl L-carnitine, Alcar in the literature. And remember, that's the biggest ingredient. It's 600 milligrams. Why do they have that? 600 to 1200 milligrams is the, when you see studies and you see people really working with Alcar, it's in that range. So this is a therapeutic dose, and you could double it to get into the higher range of the therapeutic doses. Alcar has been shown effective in alleviating, it's the side effects of aging, neurological decline, and chronic fatigue. Alcar supplementation is a very safe method of improving insulin. So it's good for your insulin and blood vessel health and for weakening cardiac. When we look at Alcar, so acetyl L-carnitine, together with coenzyme Q10, alpha-lipoic acid, and quercetin, all of those are in alpha-CRS and they're in Mito2max. These synergistically all work together in our mitochondria for increased energy production, and that particularly becomes a thing when we're talking about cardiac issues. So when you have any type of heart disease and heart issues, you want to have all those nutrients together in supplementation. And then also they work on our blood vessel integrity and our blood sugar support and our insulin's ability to manage that. What is the biggest killer besides, I think it's the biggest killer in the United States is cardiac disease and diabetes, the complications of those. So when you put together acetyl L-carnitine, alpha-lipoic acid, coenzyme Q10, and quercetin, this is a powerful blend of all of these. Okay, let's talk about oligonol. Here's from the website. This is a really interesting Japanese company that has patented this absorbable form of lychee. And so they're talking about how it's not very well absorbed, and then it goes, they have their manufacturing process, bringing it together with the green tea catechins, and you're getting this increased bioavailability. And what is it known for? So it's helping with systemic inflammation, dyslipidemia, so these are problems with your cholesterol, hyperglycemia, so high blood sugar, so that's diabetes, and high blood pressure issues, right? Oligonol improves blood lipid, yeah, and all kinds of what we call oxidative stress, right, which is just diseases of inflammation. They also use it, so it's not just for states of dis-ease, it's also incredible for both of these for athletes. So you have people who are working to excel in their cellular processes, and they want like optimal energy. We have great ultra marathoners and things like that working with deep blue polyphenol complex and the Mitomax, and having it on top of the LLV, and just having incredible results themselves with how it is helping their systems to deal with the stress of, you know, running like 50 and 100 miles. Okay. I just wanted to show some of the studies that they have been doing on the oligonol process, and you see they're great. They're really interesting studies. Talking about like cortisol levels, talking about it with the antioxidant things with diabetes, oxidative stress, inflammation, things like that. And so KCM 66, remember that's the thing that's at the end, and that's the ashwagandha. And so this is the highest concentration full spectrum ashwagandha root extract with advanced bioavailability. There you go. That's a good statement. It has 14 years of refining clinical research and development in its creation. It's the most clinically studied ashwagandha on the market. The company is called Ixoreal, and it's an industry leader in clinical trials and research investigating the effectiveness of ashwagandha. So it's been evaluated in 22 gold standard human clinical trials. So again, this is a form of ashwagandha that is very studied and has advanced bioavailability. So what do you want to take home from Mitomax? Adrenals, energy, stamina, and circulation. Who doesn't want more of these? Right? It's pretty amazing. So it has that mitochondrial energy cofactor, 600 milligrams of the Alcar, acetyl L-carnitine, circulation support with the oligonol and the quercetin, and then your adaptogenic blend with the patented ashwagandha and the cordyceps mushroom. All right, so those are your main kind of talking points to remember about Mito2 Max. Okay, so, oy vey. I knew I had too much information. I'm gonna take a second to escape from here. That was the bulk of things. I'd like to check in on how are we doing? There's people on the thing. Should I keep going? Yeah, I'm going to ask for, so I'd like to continue and with these last, which are going over Terrazyme and PB Assist. And what I want to ask people is, I would love if people want to chime in while I'm talking about Terrazyme and PB Assist with their their talking points about enzymes and probiotics, and how they like to talk about them, because I know people do. I know people have amazing talking points about why we need enzymes, why they're important for our life. In our doc talk, Dr. Louise and Dr. Mika and I, we put forward as the baseline is to use Terrazyme every single day, 5 times a day, 1 capsule 5 times a day, waking, a.m. breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then before bed, right? 5 times a day, 1 cap as a minimum. Why do we say that? Well, when you look at pasteurization, sterilization of our food, right? Things get sterilized, radiation, preserving all types of the preservatives, freezing, and microwaving. All of these render our natural enzymes, vitamins, and mineral cofactors inactive. In our standard American modern day life, most people, the food that they are taking in and how it is, I didn't even say cooking, right? Is that on there? Cooking food, right? That's not even on the list. Oh my gosh, you need to add it. Just being cooked. It's taking, the way we are preserving and cooking and preparing our foods is rendering them, all of those mineral and vitamin cofactors, inactive, and we need extra help in breaking down and being able to utilize and absorb the food that we are eating. So that is the main function. These are proteolytic enzymes. What that means is these are enzymes that are mostly mimicking our pancreatic enzymes, the enzymes that are coming from our pancreas. So they're all end with an A's. And like lipase is for helping us to digest fat, protease for protein, and amylase for carbohydrates. And then it's a beautiful blend in Terrazyme. They have special ones to help with gluten and lactase to help with the what we need to with our dairy products. And here are some talking points about Terrazyme. So every process of not only digestion, but also metabolism requires enzymes. So by the time we get to a certain age in our basically middle ages, like 30, we get pretty debilitated with our digestive system gets a big hit to it in our ability and our pancreas with all of the sugar and carbohydrates that we eat in a standard American diet. It's just overworked. It's like this, our pancreas is what is helping us to deal with sugar and all of that's in our bloodstream, right? When we talk about high blood sugar and all the diabetic issues, that's our pancreas that we're dealing with that makes and creates insulin. And then all of our digestion issue, all of our enzymes with digestion. And so it is just like this poor, tired, overworked organ. So when we are giving these proteolytic enzymes in to help aid, it's like, oh, thank you. Now I can go keep up with the backlog of the enzymes that I need to do all that metabolism, not even digestion. So digestion is one level in our body. And then there's all our other metabolism issues that we need enzymes for. So if we can support while we have meals with some extra enzymes, it's going to free up our pancreas to deal with a lot of the other metabolic issues, least of which is blood sugar regulation. So when you take it with meals, it helps support digestion and gives the pancreas a break. When you take it away from meals, it helps support everything else. So it might not be directly, those enzymes might not be going directly to digestion, but now they're going to help support, I like to call them like Pac-Men, eating up in the corners, nooks and crannies, the debris that's basically oxidative stress and that's inflammation. And so Terrazyme is incredible when you take it away from meals as well. It helps with pain, it helps with inflammation, it helps with everything. So yeah, and these are talking points. The largest part of our immune system is in our gut, right? Our whole gut system. So when we help support that with these enzymes, we are in fact helping our GI. And definitely this comes into effect with the probiotics, the PB Assist. So when we talk about probiotics, we have our intestinal microbiome. I mean, this is a list, but there's more. The beneficial bacteria, probiotics, help with everything from cellular growth, digestion, prevention of harmful pathogens, our immune system, all of our self-defense with our immune system, definitely our healthy weight, our healthy metabolism, and our mood regulation, just to name a little bit of what probiotics help with. The threats to our microflora. These are broad topics, right? Chemicals and toxins, they all threaten our microflora, our good probiotics in our gut. Stress, probably one of the biggest ones. Unhealthy, what's the SAD diet? The standard American diet. Yeah, it is, it's sad. The unhealthy SAD diet. Traveler's exposure, so that's kind of getting a bug or a thing that's then going to cause a problem in your gut. And then antibiotics. Right now, it's not only just the antibiotics that you take as a course of antibiotics, it's now they're everywhere in our meat, in our food, water, and environment, right? We're exposed to antibiotics constantly. And so let me be clear, antibiotics, the issue with them is it's like we have a local problem in our gut and we bring in NASA. Like we bring in something that's for like going to the other planets, you know, that big for our local little disruption. We're having a little rally down at the courthouse and we bring in NASA. That's kind of like, you think about how big antibiotics, they're like an atom bomb to our gut. So sometimes, in fact, many times, I would argue, we have much more effective natural treatments to treat what we need to treat that's going on, that have not the side effects and a lot of side benefits. Whereas antibiotics, they kill everything in their wake, literal A-bomb, and you have to then regrow up your natural microflora again. And that takes some time, and there can be some problems with that. So that's why we like to only use when necessary. Sometimes it's necessary, but a lot of the times there's other natural things that you can use that are just as effective and are not going to then create that secondary problem of having to reestablish your entire gut beneficial bacteria microflora again. So in the PB Assist probiotic blend, we have, oh dear, you can see it is 2 different specifications. We have probiotics for the upper GI. These are the lactobacillus, acidophilus, lactis, salvatorius, and casei, so 4 different ones. And then we have some of these probiotics for the lower GI, right? So that's the bifidobacterium, that's bifidum and longum. So you have that nice blend, and it's 5 billion colony forming units. That's how they mark probiotics. So that's called CFU. And in the range of things, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna a little bit more, 5 billion is kind of at the mid-level of quantity. And so you'll see probiotics that are 10 and even 20 and sometimes 50 billion CFU, and when you're comparing products. And so I want you guys to know that this is a double encapsulated product. So, right, we have this inside portion that has the 5 billion CFU, and then it's double encapsulated, and in the outside portion, it has a prebiotic fiber, the fructooligosaccharides. What are those? That's the food for all those guys once they open up. So you have a prebiotic, that's just the probiotics food. You got a prebiotic and you got a probiotic, 1 capsule. They carry their food with them. That's awesome. And you want that. You want them to like arrive. And as you see here, you want them to arrive in the small intestine. You do not want them to arrive in the stomach. If they arrive in the stomach, our stomach acid is like, dude, you're a bug. Shoot, I'm gonna kill you because I'm super acidic. And that's what happens. That's why people have these 10, 20, and 50 billion CFU capsules, because those do not have a special delivery system. Those are opening up in the stomach, and they are just hoping that 1 billion, 2 billion, 5 billion make it through the stomach acid to the large intestine. So when you're comparing those amounts, you have to really ask, what's the delivery system? So they get delivered in a time-release capsule to the intestine for maximum benefit, and they carry their food with them. So once they open up, ta-da, they have this grand platter meal of their yummy fructooligosaccharides. So the PB Assist, you do not need to refrigerate, so you can take it traveling around with you. There are many benefits. This is a great probiotic. All right, I am over time, so I do not think I'm going to be able to talk about DDR. Here is some of my slides. There you go. It's estimated that 95% of all cancers result from damaged DNA. These are some talking points you could think about. You would not post, but you could think about. Cancer is the absence of repair in our DNA. We need cellular protection every day. Essential oils can help your body to protect against damage to the DNA. That's pretty clear, right? So what does our DDR product stand for? I'm going to go over it anyways because I can't help myself. Just the title, you guys. DDR stands for DNA, damage, and repair. Okay, let's go back again. Cancer is the absence of repair in our DNA. We need cellular protection every day. Essential oils can help your body to protect against damage to the DNA. In our Doc Talk on Monday, Dr. Louise talked about this. Cancer doesn't happen randomly to people. Cancer happens to all of us. We are producing, it's a natural biological function. In fact, our cells mutate, okay? And it's natural in the sense that it's a process of mutation, and our body needs to, in a healthy response, if you look down here, in a healthy response, we want to respond, repair, and regenerate and prevent that damage. All of those, right? Those are the processes that we want to support when we are working with our supplements and our essential oils, so that our body is able to constantly clear and get out the damaged cells, prevent some of the cells from happening, and move them along, right? That's the idea of DDR. DDR is supporting your healthy cell response. It's supporting your healthy cell repair, your healthy cell regeneration, and it's helping to prevent DNA damage, provides antioxidant protection. You can break it down into 3 categories of helping to prevent DNA damage, helping support healthy apoptosis. Apoptosis is healthy cell death, right? So it's these things. It's the response, repair, regeneration that I talked about on this slide. Healthy apoptosis or cell death. And then oxidative stress, right? That's all the antioxidant stuff. It's all of the inflammation that is happening in your body and processes going awry. This is a slide I've had. There were studies actually done on the DDR blend itself. In one study, it was a study on tumor cells. And these tumor cells were blocking the immune response, right? And so then they added DDR to the situation of tumor cells blocking the immune cell response. And with the addition of the DDR, this is what happened in the study. The DDR stopped the tumor cells from being able to block the immune response. That was one action the DDR did. The second action was it inhibited angiogenesis. That is the blood supply that a cancer cell builds around itself. So it starts to get this network and blood supply to feed it so it can grow. And so the DDR stopped that blood supply, that angiogenesis, and it stopped the tumor cell from blocking the immune response. It's powerful. Fibrinogen is one of the major inflammation markers in blood testing that we like to do in our blood work. And this was a testimonial from Aisha Harley, where she had had elevated levels of this when she was working in her health process with Lyme. And she had been doing tons of everything. And her fibrinogen level was still elevated at 248. And it was singly alone when she added in DDR. And then I think it was 2 to 3 months later, she went and had her blood work tested again. And her fibrinogen levels were down to 146, and she had cholesterol reduction at the same time of when her cholesterol was high. So those are some things to think about when you can, why would someone want to take DDR and really commit to that in their life and their lifestyle. So this is the end, I'm almost done, everyone. This is from one of my presentations, was looking at this baseline with chronic disease, autoimmune immunity, just aging, and yep. I'm going to go through a little bit of this, right? So when you look at the pricing, right? So these are talking points about pricing. When you look at these, are the single, when you buy these bottles individually in your wholesale account, here is the price of the bottles, and they equal $158.50 wholesale. And then, right, what's the price of the LLV when you get it in your loyalty rewards? Well, we know it's not $108.50, right? And then compare it to truly this. This is what you're looking at when you're not looking, when you're trying to formulate outside the LLV from other supplement companies. You're looking at a minimum of 10 plus single bottles, trying to put them together in this incredible formulation. And you're looking at minimum $250, trying to recreate what's in just alone the LLV. And then, of course, we know on the loyalty rewards, it's $79.50. It is truly the deal of the century. And then when you add in this customization, I just start to freak out. I'm like, I can't believe my docs, you see the deep blue polyphenol complex up here? This is wholesale price of $59. My doctors, not my doctors, my friends in their offices, in their doctor offices, they retail sell and people buy the deep blue polyphenol complex for $80 and above. It's like between $80 and $90. That's how much that retail sells for in a doctor's office. Just want to let you know, you're getting it, you're able to get it for $20. It's just profound. All of these you are able to get for $20. All right. I think that is all. I am going to stop my screen share, and we're at 11:08. We started a little bit. If there is anyone, all right, before 11:20, yes. So there we go.